Hello, everyone. I'm Ivan, and I'm part of the data analytics cohort. But right now, I'm going to pretend that I am a social media expert marketer. You know, anyone with a computer can be a social media expert nowadays. So here's what we're going to do by show of hands. Everybody raise your hand if you like movies. Fantastic. Now we're going to get a little bit more specific. Keep your hands up. Who likes comedies? Fantastic. Action movies? What about submarine naval battle World War II movies? Oh, all right, look at that. Well, based on the overwhelming response, what we're going to do is we're going to design a campaign entirely around World War II naval subs, and we're going to call it Iron Subs. It's crazy, right? Why would anyone design a campaign around like 3 people when the whole room put their hands down? Well, we'll get into that. My project is called the Twitter Paradox. That sign is a paradox. So some quick facts about Twitter. In the US, we have 69 million users. They define their metrics by MAUs, which is monthly active users. So 69 million in the US. So what I did was I did an analysis, a sentiment analysis of 2 different Twitter campaigns. So in short, a sentiment analysis is where you run a bunch of words through a machine and come up with how people felt about specific things. So I made a scraper that went to Twitter, downloaded tons of tweets, separated them into values of positive numbers being good words, negative numbers being bad words, and then mapped it onto something. So the 2 ones that I chose were Gillette's The Best a Man Can Be and the Joker movie at 2 different times in the year to show you the responses. So first things first, this is my result of the Twitter sentiment. So based on the numbers, everything positive means good. People loved it. It was fantastic. You have people writing about it. Man, it's just going to be the best thing ever. Look where it really took off. It took off on Twitter. Just such good responses. How do you think Gillette did? Uh-oh. Best a man can be? I don't think so. It was universally reviled, but that doesn't make any sense. How is it that we can have such overwhelming response on Twitter, yet our growth is horrible and they had to have an $8 billion write-off for that quarter? Strange. So I decided to do the other one, Joker movie. Joker movie had the opposite. I accidentally left my scraper running, so instead of getting a few thousand tweets, I got 141,000 tweets, which was absolutely fantastic because now I have a really big sample to check. And as I kept updating, my chart kept changing. So first it was all just negative, and eventually it started building up a little bit. And you can see the average response. Oh no, this is bad. People are going to shoot up schools. Life is terrible. Joker's the end of the world. But ta-da, look at that. Joker outperformed almost every estimate that was expected of it, despite this absolute polarity on Twitter. Why is that? Well, we don't know. Well, actually, we do. We have data to prove something here. So we got to look into who Twitter actually represents. So I went to the US Census data to go through the different age groups, and I compared it with Twitter's quarterly earnings reports and some other research. So essentially, population in the US is around 326 million, 21% of adults use Twitter. Okay, well, that shows it, that makes sense. You know, that's 69 million there. Okay, cool. So females and males are not represented proportionally on Twitter. In the US, almost 50-50. On Twitter, it's actually not. But if you look at the stats, you would think that, hey, well, you'd think that 24% of US men and 18% of US men would be reached on Twitter. That would be, of course, we're all going to want to market there, except there's one big problem. Uh-oh. Turns out that the majority of tweets that are produced at any time are only produced by the top 10% of people. And 80%, which is the rest of us, maybe log on once a day, maybe engage every so often. So then the real question is, who was Twitter actually representing? Oh, well. So if you look at the US population, Twitter, the active people that we're using our marketing metrics for, is really only targeting 2.12% of the population, or the dude who liked the World War II submarines. So my final thoughts on this are, we're learning a lot about what people like and dislike, and the thing is the people that are willing to participate in surveys are already part of that 10%. They're the people that want to be heard, they're the people that want to engage. You're not getting enough information about your product from that. So as a whole, yes, it's great to use social media to kind of as like a thermometer, but to market your entire product around 2% of the people alienates the other 98%. So I'm developing this further. I'm scraping YouTube. I'm getting sentiments on those things. And I'm starting to see if I can compare sales data to most social media engagements and see where we can go from there. And if you'll excuse me, I have to buy a naval outfit for Iron Subs.